Welcome to the Endless Honeymoon Podcast.
We're back in the woods for some reason.
We're running from Delta. We're in the woods of Mendocino, where there is no possibility of getting the Delta variant.
Honey, I'm a little worried that the second we got here, maybe that was a bad omen. What happened?
Well, that is true. I got within, I would say, 15 minutes of our arrival in the Mendocino woods, I got bit in the ass by a scorpion.
Yeah. I've never seen one of those.
Well, I never felt one of those. I was laying down a carpet, unrolling a carpet, and I kind of backed that thing up into that scorpion thing, and it felt like, well, I started making deep eye contact with Jeremy's children and screaming, fuck, 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 and so they looked very confused. And then I looked back. I thought there was like an ember burning my butt or something, like a fiery ember. That's what it felt like.
Wait, how did it get into did it bite you through your pants on your butt, or did it climb in and get into your underwear?
It bit through well, I do have a scorpion in my underpants. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's an often repeated rumor. That boy has a scorpion in his drawers, they say. But this was not that. It was, I think it bit through my butt. Basically, I was like backing that thing up, and I felt this thing, and I started screaming the fuck, and then I looked back on the couch, and kind of like hanging there was a huge black scorpion. Then I started screaming, I got bit by a scorpion. Then Natasha came in, and in true Leggero form, started making eye contact with me and laughing.
I know, but here's why I was laughing. Miranda, who's Jeremy's wife, said, "Oh, don't worry, it's plastic. It's plastic." So she kept saying it was plastic.
I don't know, based on
what? It was a toy, because they have a scorpion toy.
Well,
so she figured that you saw the scorpion toy. So when I was laughing, Moshe, it's because I thought you were just playing a joke on Jeremy's kids.
No, I wasn't. Nature was playing a joke on me.
So basically, when you were moving the couch, your drawers started drooping, and that's when the scorpion saw that
succulent, supple, little plump butt,
and he climbed on it. And then, do scorpions bite with their mouths?
No.
How do you think, or he stung you?
You've never seen a scorpion before?
I saw it once you took a picture of it.
They rock you like a hurricane. That's their way. It's got, what do you mean? It's the classic, the tail went into my bum. And the good news is for like 2 days, I was like fucking jacked. Like I was so buff. I could lift really heavy things. Remember when I lifted the truck? I lifted the RV all the way up just using the power of the scorpion. It was pretty cool.
Well, I had a bad omen happen to me when I got here too.
What's that?
Jeremy's kids did her Cats audition 3 inches from my face. And she sang Memories.
Making deep eye
contact. So, I don't know. That sounds... What do you think?
Would you rather?
That or
would you rather have a 9-year-old do an Andrew Lloyd Webber Cats audition while making eye contact with you, or get bit in the succulent white butt by a black scorpion?
That's a hard one. I'd probably do the scorpion because it's done in a second.
We had a good one, a would you rather, that you came up with recently. Would you rather? Here's to our listeners, okay? We'll open this up to the listeners. Would you rather get cancer or canceled? Which one?
It's not really relevant to everybody.
It
people
is.
Are like, I'd rather get canceled. They don't. What does that mean if you're not in the public eye, I guess?
No, you can get mini canceled.
You can get canceled at work.
No, but it's like
you can get fired from your job.
Fired from your job. You're out of your industry. All of your friends and family, except your tightest, closest core, abandons you and is like, I never liked that person anyway. And you can no longer work in your field. You're in infamy, and people are
like you did something embarrassing.
Yeah. What do you mean? People get canceled from the private sector all the time. We're from the public sector. Remember that the first cancellation was the woman that was like flying to Africa and was like, hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white. You remember that? It was like a famous case. She wasn't in the public eye, but she became in the public eye. And I'm sure that person is still reaping the benefits of that very clever
tweet. So you would have that level
yes.
of, so if you're not in the public eye now, if you get canceled, you would be in the public eye slightly.
Right. Not even slightly. Like, Karen from the bird watching Karen from New York City that threatened to call the cops on that black dude. Like, you're in that level of like infamy. But
I have an idea. How about you get canceled for being a Karen? Or canceled?
Well, we can't. Sure. I mean, whatever it is, it's that level. Barbecue Becky, you're at that level. Everybody knows who you are, and you're canceled. Or you get a kind of cancer that has a 70% survival rate. So you're really likely to win.
When you get,
to live. Here's the other bit of information to add into your calculation. When you get cancer, the opposite of getting canceled happens. Everybody comes out of the woodworks and is like, I love that person. They're so brave. They're so special, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're so people love you more. And when you're canceled, people love you less. In fact,
But you have your health, which is essentially everything.
Your own family, like your mom maybe turns on you a little bit. Your mom's a little bit like, listen, honey, I love you, but I can't be associated with you in public until you get this squared away. Oh.
I think health is more important.
Write us. Let us know. What would you rather have happen to you? Cancer or canceled? Let us know here at the Endless Honeymoon Podcast. Today's guest is somebody that has not been canceled.
No, and the opposite. She has
cancer. This is awesome.
No. She has so many things happening, and I'm so excited to read her book, The Wreckage of My Presence. I also often listen to her podcast called Bitch Sesh, all about the Real Housewives.
It feels like, okay, it's about the Real Housewives, because I was going to say, if the podcast is called Bitch Sesh, it sounds like you're often a guest, but kind of without being asked to be on the podcast. What I'm saying is sometimes you engage in a bitch sesh of your very own, if you know what I'm saying. Does that make sense, the joke?
Yes, honey.
I'm kind of like roasting you a little bit, and I felt like it was a pretty effective slam.
You can also see her on Black Monday.
I'm not doing very well since the scorpion bite. I've been trying a lot of riffs, and a lot of them been falling pretty flat. But you know what doesn't fall flat? The collected works of Casey Wilson, who is our guest.
Yeah, she's our guest. Let's give her a call.
Let's do it.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Casey.
Hi. I'm so sorry I'm late. I was doing some like weird thing for a promo and they were like a million questions. Hi.
Wait, Casey, is this your house? Because this looks like it's like a bathroom at like a hotel or something.
No, this is my house, but they had me add these weird flowers. Should I lose them for these promos I was doing? They're like, do you have anything you can put over there? I'm like, not really.
No, I like it. It just kind of looks like a Tudor place where I would like want to go on a holiday or something.
Yeah, we're going to come to your spot for a holiday if you're down.
Yeah, we're in an RV, so.
Where are you guys?
We're in the woods running from the Delta variant. Now, we understand that the last thing you did only had a million questions. We only have one question, Casey.
I'm scared.
Here's the question. Would you rather...
Oh my God, this is so stupid.
Would you rather get cancer
Okay.
or canceled?
Cancer.
Wow, that was such a bold, no thought about it. Now, let me tell you the parameters of the cancer.
Okay.
It's 70% survival rate. Okay?
Cool.
So,
Great.
yeah, the cancellation... your close core stays with you. Your family, your husband, they'll stay.
What
Everybody
about a
else is
couple
gone.
friends?
Maybe one friend.
But
maybe.
that friend that will already do anything you say, like they're not your most exciting friend.
Right, but they're also they're problematic themselves.
Oh fuck. Okay, right. I don't want that friend. They keep coming out for me, but they're hurting me. Their support is hurting.
Right.
Stick with
it
my
doesn't
original
help your image
answer.
that's who you keep. So cancer it is.
Yeah, because with cancer, you rightfully so, you get a lot of sympathy. People are there for you. I can't handle people not liking me. So the idea of being canceled, and I will be canceled, so know that it will come for me, but I just don't think I could. And 70%, I'm an optimist. I'm good with 70.
But you don't think health is everything?
No,
health is
career
wealth?
and image is everything.
That's right.
Health is like all we have.
Okay, honey.
I know. I don't. In that scenario.
Wait, all right, so that's your question for Casey. Now I have a question for Casey.
Okay.
I know you're married to a very talented writer, and so am I. And
Yes.
does your talented writer husband try to do home projects and like does he have like a toolbox that he tries to like pull out and fix things but really just makes them worse?
Okay, so I'm on the fence about saying this, but this is what he says about himself, okay? This is his words, okay? Now, he is a Jewish man. I am not, and he says that I come off anti-Semitic even when I repeat these comments. But he says, and he thinks I am, and I'm not. You know, we're raising our children Jewish. I'm possibly going through a conversion if I can find the time, but he does not. We bring in someone to help us with those things, and that is what he attributes it to. I attribute it to laziness and not not his culture and kind of religion.
So you actually wish he would, because coming from another woman who's married to a Jew, I wish he wouldn't do his home repairs. Because
no, I'm so happy with the way it's set up.
Wait, I'm not sure I'm understanding the part where the anti-Semitism comes into play. Can you? Well, is the intimation that because we're Jews, we're not really equipped to do home repairs? We should be like,
yeah, that's part of it.
Financing some sort of other.
No, he is just blaming that on why he cannot do any home repairs. He blames that. And he again tells me that if I also give that reasoning, that makes me anti-Semitic as a non-Jew. But he also thinks everything sounds anti-Semitic, which, you know, and I don't mean to have gotten, see, I told you I will be canceled, and I told you, and I didn't know it was going to happen this quickly. Here we are.
Honest, Casey, that's actually what we're leading you toward.
I know. And my husband said that is what will bring me down. 100%. No,
I just have to say, Moshe is just always in a home repair. Like even before, no, but he makes everything worse, and I have to always talk him out of his bad ideas. And furthermore, he makes a mess.
Look, I appreciate that you have defied my husband's own stereotype about his people, which was wrong, and that's beautiful.
All I'm saying is that what you guys don't understand, having been raised in a Gentile milieu, is that the home repair is not really about the home repair. It's about the enforced emasculation that society has imposed upon us. And to do the repair, we are saying to society, no, I truly am a man. And then to look to our lover and have them rolling their eyes and saying, you see, this is what I knew you couldn't do. You're, in a way, reinforcing the problem that we were trying to solve in the first place.
Right. Okay. I hear that. And it seems like my husband isn't even up for that challenge of trying to attempt to reclaim the masculinity stripped from him by society. So I think you're enlightened, you know?
He's a happy cuck, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he is.
Don't make her say that.
We're just trying to get you in trouble. Okay, we can stop.
Moshe's half Polish, so.
What's that mean?
Uh-oh.
Maybe part of you wants to do the home repair.
You're saying Poles do home repair?
Wow. Wow.
All right, Casey. How would you feel now that we've established all of our mutual problematicness? How would you feel about giving some advice to some other people that need some help in their lives?
Okay, I mean, I will try my best.
Let's do that.
You seem like you have a very full life. You're a successful mother. You're a loving you have a loving husband. You guys always post beautiful posts about each other.
Yes.
You're an author, you're an actor, what don't you do? What are you worst at?
A podcast. She's a podcast
tour.
Yeah, podcast tour.
Mm-hmm.
Podcastini.
And I directed a short film, everyone.
And she's a budding director.
Don't forget about my short film.
Wait, what's your short film called?
It's called Daddy-O, about my father, but I'm kidding. But I do feel like if you want to direct, women have to come with their short film. Feel like I did something. And men, they're like, direct a Marvel movie.
It's funny you mentioned that because I have never directed anything, but Marvel did just reach out about me doing I'm actually going to be doing the entire X-Men series again.
Again, wow.
Yeah, debut director, 8-film deal. It's kind of interesting because I have no experience whatsoever with it. So
right.
they
It
just
seems
said
like
you're
your
the man
home
that-
repairs. It is interesting. That's the right word for it.
Moshe asked me to put him on tape for an audition, and I got so frustrated I realized I'll never be a female director.
Just by me.
Oh, was it your actor not taking direction?
It was more like I didn't want to put the phone in the tripod.
And let me just start here and say,
okay, technically.
Casey, I'm not her actor. Let's just clarify that. I'm my own actor.
See, let me say, that's why actually actors are in like a little cage and they just like call us out. Whereas, I do like the directing, the power. She is your actor. That's what I learned as a director.
You
She's
own
in
these
charge.
people.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can direct some people into a greater good. And
I feel like you're going to have good advice, Casey.
Okay.
Okay, first we're going to call Danny in Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne.
From the lockdown.
Well, yeah, they're probably partying right now.
Wait, why? Is it better there?
Yeah, they solved it.
Is that true?
Well, they locked down for a few weeks and then they're doing great, I think.
Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Good morning, guys. Well, good morning for me. How are you?
It's Natasha, Moshe, and our friend Casey Wilson.
Hi, Casey Wilson. It's good to meet you guys, as I say to all my potential clients. You look beautiful, Casey Wilson. What's happening with this light?
God bless. This is not for this podcast.
What about me? How do I look?
Yeah, what do we, chop liver over here?
I feel like your guys' Wi-Fi connection is not as strong. Oh, well, that's
And I'll admit, you guys are in the lowest, fuzziest lighting. You're like a blur of images.
Well, I mean, it is an issue that we are having because we're so far in the Northern California woods. How do we Zoom podcast and stay connected to Mother Gaia? That's an issue we've been having this whole time.
It's a real issue.
Are you guys in Humboldt National Forest? Sorry, this is not my podcast.
No, we're in Mendocino, and I just want to say that you're calling from Melbourne, Australia, and this whatever American accent character you're doing is like so fake we can see like straight through it. Like no one is buying this like American lady character.
Right. It's definitely not like West Coast my whole life, LA for the last 14 years prior to that. No, I started taking acting classes, so I got really good.
Well, you know what? Actually, you're on the line with 3 directors. Two of whom have done shorts, but one of whom is about to do an 8-picture deal with Marvel Studios. It doesn't matter.
8-picture. Yeah, the fact that you say picture is what got you that job. For
I
sure.
drive in Paramount in like an old-timey Rolls-Royce convertible with like an auga horn and a little weird hat, and it's kind of like they see it. They're like, "Oh, I got it." One of these old school guys.
Okay, so what's going on, Danny? Please tell us.
How can we help? Is it about the mistake you made by moving to Australia?
And let's not unpack. We can unpack that for the next hour, but I won't take up that much of your time. I'm like, luckily no one I know in Australia is going to watch this because they don't have good taste. So, okay. So I don't know if your producer gave you any context. I'll keep it really short, my context, but I moved out to Australia about 3 years ago at this point to be with my now Australian husband.
What was you before? Little zing.
Australian husband.
All right.
Maybe I'm a little nervous. Oh my God. Basically, my question is kind of twofold. How I moved out here 3 years ago. One of the reasons I thought it would be a great idea to move out here is because I knew I wanted to have kids. I was a little bit of like an older mom and I knew I wanted to get going. And he's got, tons of aunts and uncles and cousins, and he's got 2 siblings with wives. And I have a small family, but I'm really, really close to them, but we were all spread out in the States. So I thought, in my mind, without probably discussing this, I thought that'd be great. We have kids, their cousins, and the next gen can kind of grow up together. And I'm so excited to cultivate these close relationships with brothers.
Let me ask you a question, Danny.
Danny,
when he saw your small family as an Australian man, did he say, "That's not a family. This is a family"?
Well, he actually didn't even read.
Crocodile Dundee.
pretty much. I mean, like, he didn't even realize that people could not come from big families. So that's just one of the differences. I mean, also, what's happened over these last 3 years is it's become kind of clear that I'm probably not just going to have this idealized version of tight-knit relationships with like his brothers. I know it's sad. I mean, I'm really close with my mother-in-law, which I know I'm really lucky. So many people have monsters in law. So I'm lucky in that sense. And she's great, but I kind of am now considering her
like Natasha does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Casey, what the hell?
It's a feeling I get.
It feels anti-Semitic. The feeling feels anti-Semitic. Yes.
I promise it wasn't that. I promise. I love my mother-in-law dearly. Go on, Danny.
My mother-in-law's often doing home repairs, if you know what I mean.
Wait, so Danny, I'm confused. What's your question? His family has rejected you?
No, I'll get, so pretty much what's happened is now in the last couple of weeks, probably since I wrote you guys, one of the brothers, we had a baby last May, and his brother is about to have a baby. So they'll be about a year apart. So it's like exciting time for the next gen to get to know each other. But that brother in particular has kind of explicitly expressed that he's just not interested in me, doesn't really want to be around me. He started discluding me from like family functions and stuff. Like they had a dinner party last week and like I just wasn't invited, but everyone else was. It was very odd. And it's not totally based on nothing. I think what happens is when out here, because I grew up so differently, I'm like a privileged Jewish American girl who went to college, and out here, like my in-laws are like truck drivers and tradesmen. And I'm not saying that to be a snob. I'm just trying to illustrate this like massive point of difference in just not only the culture clash, but like our complete communication style, full stop. So what happens is I kind of accidentally become this like abrasive American who in heated topics such as like, this is why we don't hit kids now, and misogyny, and here's what feminism actually, I had to define feminism for a couple of them. Fine. I guess I shouldn't shame them, but I kind of just become this abrasive American, as I'm termed. Whereas like at home, these are not conversations, and these issues are kind of, these social things are just kind of built into who I guess my circles of people are. And it's not something I need to get on a soapbox and talk about. So he looks at, and also communication wise, he kind of looks at it as like, see, I think there's a way to have a debate about something and then move on like respectfully and whatever. He sees it, and these guys see it as like, it's a personal attack on me. We're having a fight anytime we kind of disagree. So I'm just like at a loss. And it's sad because now this has happened where I'm not included, but I guess my question is twofold. One, how do I kind of make peace with the fact and accept the fact that like, this just isn't going to be this like Brady Bunch blended, exciting, idealized version of what I thought it would be, especially because I've been kept from my family out here. But then my second thing is, do I be the bigger person and extend an olive branch, try to mend some bridges? Because like I've been kind of really hurt by some of the things that he said that was kind of unrelated to other stuff in front of people. So what do I do how do I behave about this going forward to not make our children forego love? Because I don't want to withhold love, but it's kind of toxic for me, but I don't want it to be. I want us to get along. Yeah.
Got it. No. Okay. So the two questions are, how do you make peace with the fact that you didn't get the big Australian outback love and connectivity kind of
the Bloomin' Onion family.
That's right. You thought you would each be a strand of a bloomin' onion, but in fact, you're your own ring. And also, what do you do with people in your family that are assholes that you don't feel like you owe an olive branch to, but without giving that olive branch, there will be no peace and no connectivity.
No peace and connectivity, because yes, it's not like I just want to make peace for everyone else. I genuinely like want this family. Yeah.
It's hard because I think you've put a lot of pressure on yourself. Moving kind of away from your parents puts a lot more pressure on it of like, well, we're not seeing my family because I'm hoping we're going to get this. So it's a hard situation. Are you close with their wives briefly?
Not so.
Got it.
So one of them, like I actually thought I could really like, and she's kind of new to the family. I'm 6 years into the family and she's 1 year into the family. And I came at her with open arms. I was just like everything warm, welcoming, tried to connect with her. And then as soon as this drama happened with her husband, which was just like 2-3 weeks ago, which I guess is maybe she's known about longer in his head, but God forbid he would be big enough to pick up the phone a couple of months ago whenever things started bothering him. She's just like cut me off. So I'm like, is that the kind of women? Like, is that what we teach women to do out here? We just are like, I'm going to stand by my man.
It sounds like something else is happening because people are like not wanting to be around you. The wives are cutting you off. Like, do you have any intel from your husband? Like what could be happening?
So this is, okay. You're good, Natasha. You're good. There's two things. One is this term abrasive American that I've kind of heard, which is they use the term instead of calling people out, pulling people up. So when these kind of heated topics arise, like all of these, I don't know, kind of antiquated ways that conservative ways people live, like my wife should have my dinner on the table if she's not working, and like, just, I don't know, why hitting kids and being, lobbing around racial remarks or homophobic slurs. Like, it's so funny. And it's like, these are things that I don't want influencing my son. So they're not really welcome around me or my kid or in my house. And so when I try to then educate, I just look like a pedantic asshole. So that's like one part of it. Yeah.
All right. Let me jump in. I have a feeling now. I have a feeling. First, I have a couple of questions. Why is it that you want to forge this idealized relationship that you've always desired?
With a group of racists and rapists.
I mean, it's like, what idealized
child abusers, yeah.
Yeah, like what is this idealized version of family? Did it include that it would be like looking the other way at racial slurs? Probably not. So the way to make peace with the fact that you're not going to get it is that it was never available to you in the first place.
I didn't know, and that's the hard thing. I didn't know.
On the other hand, not to take you off the hook altogether, there's like a really good rule of thumb for me, not you, but for me, in terms of, because I'm a very argumentative person too. I too am an abrasive American. How interesting. Interesting. We both went to the same synagogue. There's a good rule of thumb that is, when you ask yourself if you need to because you don't have to fight every battle. I don't believe that everything you fought with your family about was something where it was an egregious racist remark that you definitely needed to take a stand on. There are certain things that you need to take a stand on, and there are certain things you need to let drop, especially when it comes to family. The rule of thumb for me is, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said now? And does this need to be said by me?
And a racial slur, something like that, I'd say yes, it needs to be said that you need to say something to prevent it, especially in front of your kid, obviously.
Right. Well, a racial slur is a perfect example. Somebody says it. Does somebody need to say something? Yes. Does it need to be said now? Yes. Is anyone else going to say it? No. So yes, it needs to be said by me. But if I can't answer yes to all three of those questions, I'm not saying that I follow this. I'm saying this is a good idealized version of how to conduct myself with public debate, because if I can't answer yes to all three of those questions, then I can just shut the fuck up and I don't have to be the abrasive anybody. I can just mind my own business.
I feel like that is really a great checklist. I think, I'm not saying it's not a good checklist, but when I'm at home, like in the States, I mean, still consider that. That's a great checklist, because in my mind, I'm like, someone else will either pipe up or this is not, my bad. This is like not for today, but nobody does that here. And then I find myself being like the cheese stands alone, black sheep.
And including where's your husband on this?
So my husband will pipe up, like, and I'd say let's give it the last, I don't know, 4 out of 7 racial slurs or talking about why kids deserve to get spanked. Like he will pipe up about that. And like, that's just because what?
I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, why kids deserve to get spanked to me is a great example. Does it need to be said? Maybe. Does it need to be said now? Maybe not. Does it need to be said by you? Probably not. So with racial slur, it's like your kid needs to know right now that's totally unacceptable. Never. With spanking, maybe you can go home and say to your kid, like, we don't do that, and there's a reason. Do you think by taking a public stand in front of your in-laws, they're going to stop their believing what they believe about spanking? Absolutely 0% possibility that's going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
And I have some other advice for you. Like, it's kind of like a lesson in charm. And I understand that there's a reason why they all don't like you. And you're kind of like the one trying to, stand up.
Natasha, I'm sorry to stop you, but if anyone could give a lesson in charm, it is truly this woman. So I think this comes from you're getting it from the best source. It's true.
So what I would do, thank you, Casey. What I would do is also try to figure out some things that the family really likes that has nothing to do with things that you say. And, just when they come over, try to have, these are simple people, like just have their favorite beer ready for them.
These are simple, racist child abusers. They're just simple.
Everyday, simple abusers.
Yeah, Casey, what do you think? Do you have any?
No, but do you see what I'm saying?
That's a really good point.
Have some of their favorite food, have some of their, just try to ingratiate them and compliment them, do that kind of thing. And that doesn't mean you can't also say, please don't, call Asian people that, or whatever is their, please, and just keeping a broken record like you are with a kid. Like I was telling Moshe that the other day, I'm like, with a kid, it's like you just have to, or I was telling the 9-year-old who's watching our kid, I was like, you just have to keep repeating things. You just have to keep repeating things.
But my thought is that with those 3 questions to yourself, you'll figure out when you need to fight, what battles you need to fight. Because your job is not to educate anyone on how to be good. That's just not your job. Your job is to stand up when something is unacceptable. Every human being has that job. But your job is not to go to Australia and come bring them your values and make sure they adhere
Turn
to them.
it down a notch, Danny.
Turn it down 5 notches.
No, that's you guys, really good points. I feel like I've tried in the past to, connect on common ground, but sort of, this is kind of, I think, a fleeting note that I'm taking, which is just like, it's not my job. It's not my job. But if I want peace, I'm going to have to bite my tongue more.
I think, if I may, so I have some Trump supporter relatives, and I actually just flew to Florida to visit them. And I love these people. The my aunt and uncle, they've been in my life my whole life, but obviously it's a strain because it's difficult, and their views on masks and it's difficult. But I did try a technique. I was just like, I'm going to detach and try to just keep everything very shallow. I have tried talking to them. It's not that I don't feel, it's just not working. They are not going to change in the same way I'm not going to. And so honestly, we really got into like the weather, which sounds dumb, but I was able to enjoy them. They enjoyed my kids. I just did not, I was so detached from them. I could actually be, so friendly. And we chatted about like family drama, just like common things. The kids were our like touch point. And I tried to just not get into it because they're going to say something inflammatory. You're going to have to come back at them, and it's not excusing it. Otherwise, I personally would move back home because I would. I think right now you're putting the weight in the wrong place. Like, be with your small family and then go see them in little bursts of like 2 times versus seeing them all the time. And then I just think it seems you want to move back. And then you can really love people when you only see them twice a year.
Keep it shallow. I love that.
I think that's so wise. Because as you were, as Casey was saying that, I was thinking, yes, like, why are you trying to alchemize this family into something that they will never become? You already know they'll never become, rather than trying to turn your own family that you actually have control over into the family that you want. You can grow
chosen
your
family.
life. You can grow it's not chosen family because you did give birth to them, so they are your biological family as well, I think. But it's like you can grow your own family unit into the thing you want through friends and community that you build, rather than it's like you keep going to the dry well and trying to get a cup of water and going like, why isn't there any water here? In America, we have water.
Yeah, based on your idea of the like Norman Rockwell thing. And so I think you keep running up against your own expectation that's just not there for the taking. And it sucks. But like finding acceptance there.
It's just really good to hear people be clear.
The truth is, behind every Norman Rockwell painting was a person making a disparaging mark about the Aboriginal people of Australia. So honestly, it was never an ideal to begin with. You just have to cultivate in the field that actually grows you fruits and vegetables, rather than going to an arid field and hoping against hope that someday a fruit will pop up. Ain't no fruit.
Nope.
There's no fruit, just dry, dusty seeds. But like I found out here in my first month of being here, I was like, oh, I need like peeps. This is not, going to work like for me in an extended way. So I found there's but there's a big, like a 5,000 person American expat Facebook group. And my two best friends, they have 2-3 kids of their own, husband, like all of us, the 6 of us adults, we get together and have Friendsgivings. Like, so that even my husband has tried to say, like, we have, like, these are not, I know, my blood people, but like you have a lot of love here and you have to just start being grateful for that instead of hanging on. Cause I'm not somebody that I need people, I guess. So,
yeah. Lean into the place where you're getting nutrients rather than hoping they pop up somewhere else. I think we've solved your issues.
Okay, Danny, good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. Good luck.
Fun
Good luck
camping. Bye, Casey. You look great.
And if all else fails, just make a Crocodile Dundee reference. Australians love that. Well, Casey, you gave good advice.
Reference.
Yeah, Steve. Oh, yeah. That's a
R.I.P.
cultural point that everybody feels good about in Australia. Casey, you give great advice, as we knew you would.
Yeah, that was really good. Keep it shallow.
Keep it shallow.
Is it hard? Like, do you find that like Trumpers that they want to get into it or no?
Are they also down to keep it shallow?
Yes, I think so. Some are and some aren't, but also it's like the level of respect I've had for like the time and effort they've put into my childhood and my life. And my mom passed away like 15 years ago. So part of me is like, also like, what would she want me to do? My mom was like actually like a feminist leader, but I actually think she would be like, just go have a really nice time with my brother, please. And let them be in the kids' lives. And, I don't know. So, but it's very challenging. Like I have one relative who's a Trump supporter, not my family in Florida. And, it's very difficult to overcome. Like what comes with that is someone who's supporting a bigot and speaking of anti-Semitism, supporting someone who's fanning those flames. And it's very difficult, like from an emotional standpoint to put aside. It's very difficult, but it's like, okay, but at what cost? So what's my end goal that I don't see my family? It's like, I think going to that end goal and like, it's almost like divorced parents. Like I'm just trying to try to understand like, okay, we have to kind of keep this together for like my kids to have relationships.
No, but the problem, I think what you're saying is so right on, and yes. And the problem with that is that there's been a change in the way people talk about politics. When we were growing up, there was that idea, don't bring up religion or politics at the dinner table.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh no, actually find your political adversaries and take them down. And that's not just on the right.
At the dinner table.
By the way, that's not just Trump supporters. That's people in my political camp too. It's like, find the Trump supporter, challenge the Trump supporter, and change them. No one's ever changed anything. Although I recently was on a Facebook wall argument, and I did have a profound political change of heart. No, I didn't. That's never happened in American history.
Wow. Someone trolling you got through.
Yeah, somebody got me.
But it's also sometimes hard to keep it light because it's like, oh, well, can we actually go outside because if you don't want a mask, you know what I mean? Like, it's like even logistically having a conversation with people.
It was hard. It was like had to be negotiated a bit. It's like I have my boundary, which is like my kids aren't vaccinated. There's a lot going on right now. I felt it was generous of us to fly there. And then now we're going to do everything inside. And, those are my kind of ground rules. And they respected that. They really did. So,
yeah. Let everybody think everybody's crazy, and I guess change the subject.
Exactly. Like I knew they were rolling their eyes at me, and just as much. They're just like California liberals. You locked it down so much, your kids didn't get any goddamn interaction. They think the master child abuse, and the numbers are not that much different. And so I was like, "Am I Republican now? I'm hearing that." But it's just like. We are not changing each other. And I'm not saying that means we shouldn't try. But after a few tries, it's just like, I know no one's changing me.
Yep, I love that.
I don't know.
Keep it shallow. Keep it moving. Speaking of keeping it moving.
Wait, but she's so good at advice. I think we should do one more call.
Oh, are you down, Casey? One more call?
Yes, of course.
Let's do another.
Okay, we're going to call Stuart and Isabel in Manhattan.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Quick question before we get started. Would you rather get cancer or canceled?
Getting canceled is your fault.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you pick cancer?
I can blame it on the universe.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, great.
By the way, we're here not just Natasha and Moshe, but our friend Casey Wilson.
Hi, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So do you want to just kind of get into it? Tell us what's up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So some background. We've been dating for about 2 years. Stuart wanted to move to New York before we started dating. When we started dating, a few months in, he asked if I wanted to go with him.
We met in LA, by the way. We lived there previously.
Yeah. And I was a little nervous because it was obviously very soon, but we really, really liked each other. So I said yes. Then the pandemic hit and we pushed it back a little bit. But we eventually ended up moving last August. And it was so hard. It was so lonely. Like our housing situations got really complicated. It was just super difficult. I was working from home, so we were together 24/7, but we still did it and we still made it through. And it's been getting better as things are starting to open up, but we definitely haven't been having an easy time. And yeah, I guess the question is,
how do we retain?
When will this nightmare end?
That's question number one. Number two is, how do we retain our strong bond in our relationship, and how much progress we've made, while also learning to develop as individuals, as young people and stuff.
Casey, you want to take that one?
Back to you, Natasha.
I mean, Moshe and I mean, it's definitely, this has been the hardest time of our relationship. We're in couples therapy. We've never been in that before. It's this is definitely, I felt like we never really needed help and now we do. So, I mean, I almost feel like I don't know if I'm able to give advice on that subject because we're having a hard time too.
Well, lucky you, I can give advice on that, on any subject, whether or not I have the rhetorical authority to do so.
This is part of why we get into fights all the time. I didn't quite realize what a know-it-all Moshe was until I was stuck in a house with him for a year.
I don't think I'm a know-it-all. I just know a lot about almost everything. So not everything.
Well, I used to call it know-it-all. Now I know there's another name for it, when men explain things to you and you're not sure about it.
Being correct. But here's what I've been thinking. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. You know how the restaurants before the pandemic that were you were already a little bit wait, how are you in business exactly? And then the pandemic hit and those are gone. Every one of them is gone, right? A lot of those restaurants, you're well, I guess that kind of made sense because I didn't really, the Pacific Dining Car, RIP. I'm so sad that it's gone. But it was this 24-hour gourmet white tablecloth steak restaurant. And you were kind of always how are they possibly profitable? They died, right? The same thing is true with individuals. So everybody that you knew before the pandemic that was a little bit unstable is completely gone and just needs severe mental health help. And the same thing is true with relationships. Every relationship that was rocky and ready to split, done. But that trickles.
But they never got to establish.
But what I'm saying is that trickles all the way down, which is the healthy, positive relationships, the profitable restaurants, the people that were in a good place before the pandemic are all a few notches down in difficulty and challenge. I feel like Natasha and I were very healthy, but we are in a different space and having a bigger challenge than we were before the pandemic. So just knowing that, you guys, to me, are a success story. Even as difficult as it is, you guys happen to have found each other and happen to be this couple that was able to make it through this whole thing, because in a normal circumstance, you would have been a rock solid couple and things would have been really smooth because you would have had your own individual lives and you would have done it in a more normal way. But no one's going through anything normal. That's my thought. Casey, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, guys, I have a bit of a different take and I don't know if I should say it.
Say it.
Of course.
Can I ask? Because I do agree with everything you're saying, and it's hard to move to a new city. These have been like extraordinarily difficult situations. So I'm like so empathetic and sympathetic to it. But sometimes my husband has said this. He's like, if you got problems at the beginning, you don't know what the hell you're headed for. Like when you have kids, when it only gets worse. So part of me is like, if you're struggling this much at the outset,
Move back to America.
I'm worried. I'm worried.
Leave Australia.
You both seem so lovely. And this is my question back to you, actually, because I don't know that I'm right. I'm just saying, like, before all this happened, were we at a 10? Were we like crazy about each other?
We were crazy about each other. We had
Okay,
problems.
so we weren't like on a little of like, ooh, ground.
No,
Not
we
really.
felt like, yeah.
Then it seems like Moshe was right. Okay. I was just kind of taking the restaurant analogy of like, were we the restaurant that's like, why are we are even open? Or we okay,
Does
I
this
just wanted,
fusion
I'm sorry, I
really
wanted
Does
to
it make
just
sense to have white tablecloths at 4 a.m.?
Right.
wanted to understand
No, I know what you're
that.
saying, Casey. Was like, was this move together a kind of triage situation to solve a situation that should have been solved in the first place, or did you happen to move together because in a normal circumstance you wouldn't have had to move together? It would have been able to have its own organic flow, but we all went through this global trauma together, and here you are.
Yeah, it would have hopefully been a lot more normal and like regular.
Yeah, we were also
And you would have had independence in your own friends. Do you guys have your own friends outside of each other where you live?
No.
We have like
because
four
all the friends we've made together.
Yeah.
Everyone new to us has been as a couple.
That to me is like and I know it's so hard with the pandemic, but just like trying to just get out of the house and let the other just like find some means of space or friendships or things outside of the other one. Weirdly, is just like stop spending so much time together. But I know it's so hard. So it's not like you're wanting this. It's just what's happened.
I think that alone could be a nice goal for each of you, you know, just like, and you don't even have to be like, we each have to make a friend, you know, but it's like, what are the things that you enjoy doing? You know, like I was just in Atlanta for 10 days without Moshe, but like I kind of got into I got into different television, like just things that I want to watch, kind of following my bliss. Like even alone, you can kind of do something like that. And then maybe there's an exhibit you want to go see. And I'm sure there's a lot of outdoor things happening in New York right now. So it's like, yes, maybe you can't do a certain thing, but you know, like look at what's happening outside in New York where you could like, you know, even if it's like vintage shopping or I don't know, just something that interests you that you might not meet other people, but at least you're like filling yourself.
No, I think that's right. Just because the two of you were able to make it through this with unrelenting, unceasing, never-ending companionship with
so
one
hard.
another doesn't mean, just because that happened, it doesn't mean that is now how it must be. Like now that things are relaxing, you can try to do a reset because, yeah, just like Natasha said, like one of the things in our relationship that was important was that we both needed independence from each other, and then the world took away the ability to get that independence, and now we're kind of sniping at each other, but we also are finding it difficult to detach because we're so used to it after a year and a half of always being together. And
yeah, it seems like you guys also want to be together. It's interesting.
Yeah, it sucks. We just like each other too much.
Can you go out with the girl of the couple you've met, or you know, like even silo those people off a little?
I guess so. I mean, honestly, it's just been so hard for us to like make friends individually.
Yeah.
I kind of wouldn't even really know where to start.
Yeah. It's hard to make friends older, I feel like. It's just so much harder.
100%, it's harder to make friends. I think when you're in your 20s, you actually, how old are you guys? You guys look like you could be in your 20s. How old are you? 30, 31.
25.
31? I'm 24.
Yeah, you guys look. I'm
like,
sorry.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
both 47?
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, now that you
You
say
guys
it,
are
you
so
look
young.
now that you say you look 25 and 24, but like you've lived through too much. A really aged 25 and 24. Now that you say it, I see that you guys look like a kind of. No, I'm joking. You guys are young, so maybe go out and meet people.
You have to go out. I mean, that's just part of it. And you have to go out alone. You have to go out together. You have to, I mean, it's New York. Like walk somewhere. Walk to the fucking plaza and have a drink at the bar. I don't know. do something.
No, it's
Yeah,
true. Go ahead,
well,
Casey.
I was just going to say, and again, I know these seem like almost Republican values coming out.
Looks like somebody won at the Trump family gathering.
I know. I was
Maybe take
saying
off the
earlier, guys.
mask and stop living in fear. That's my advice.
No, but I am saying I think we've gone so far in one direction that when it is affecting mental health, and I am personally like, and I'm not going to get on a high horse, but if you are vaccinated, I know there's problems, but I think we are now letting fear rule us to the point that it is disintegrating our mental health and lives. And I personally, I'm pulling back in the other direction. I won't do it anymore to that level. I just won't. And obviously, I'll wear my mask and I'll be safe and I try to see everyone outside and I'm doing all those things. I'm not saying that, but I do feel like what I'm hearing is like you guys adhered amazingly to the pandemic as we all should have. But now, like, the world is in a transitionary state. And I know we're like toggling back and forth in this like super scary way. But I just think living in fear, it just puts a fucking damper on everyone. And I'm not even saying you're doing that, but like, I think
I am. I want to know how to stop, Casey. How do do you have any practical suggestions for not living in fear, not checking the news on your phone?
I don't check the news anymore, which I'm not trying to be ignorant. My husband does, and I'm like, where are we at? But I was up at night, every night. I was having to take like Klonopin. Like I was really just going through, and I've had a couple friends who like to send me like the most alarmist news articles. I had to be like, you have to stop. Like I can't, I have to just try to assume if I'm doing everything in my power to be safe that I don't know. I can't be at the 10 anymore. It broke me to my core emotionally.
I think we all feel that way too, but like, I think
I don't mean at the risk of harming others or anything like that, obviously.
No, but something else happened as a result of being in that much fear and trauma. And it's interesting to think about that everyone on Earth has gone through the same version of trauma with 1,000 different iterations of what it looked like. But you remember?
Even the billionaires.
Now, you guys are only 24, but have you ever...
Even us, Hollywood elite here, we went through that.
Coastal elites as well.
Have you ever seen the classic old film, very old classic film from another generation called The Shawshank Redemption? Have you ever seen that old chestnut?
Honey, she has.
What, you haven't? For real? Okay, first of all, you have to watch it because it's great, and I was making a joke because it's not an old film. But there's a character in there, right? This guy, Brooke, who gets out of jail, and he's been in there for so long that when he gets out of prison, he doesn't know what to do with himself, and he ends up not being able to live on the outside. So that's called being institutionalized, right? So beyond the fear, which was reasonable for a while, but now has become like monolithic, also we've all become slightly institutionalized. And it's like just because you can make it through prison, just because you can live with your cellmate and make it through, just because you are dependent on the system doesn't mean that it's healthy. So we've all become institutionalized even in our little relationships. And so the way to get out of institutionalization is to fight against it. And I think that Natasha's right. Like if you were still in LA, I'd say one of you needs to go to the desert for the weekend and the other one needs to stay home, and then you swap and go. But you can't maybe afford that in New York, and the desert's further away. But it's New York. I mean, there's a million different adventures that you guys can have without each other. And I think it's time to start implementing that, like alone time, so that you can kind of grow independently, because you guys, you became married before you even started really going steady. And now it's time to go get individual so that your relationship can thrive.
And if you see something that sounds fun for the two of you as a date, you should also do that. Like, I think, unique, we kind of, our brains thrive on novelty. So, there's also part of you that's probably really bored with each other. So, if there is something you're like, oh, but this would be perfect for us, like you should still do that too. Like keep continuing to make your own relationship special and fun.
But you guys have it hard. Like you're in such a small space. It's hard in New York for everyone. Like I have such empathy, and it seems like you guys are going to do okay, but you're almost like codependently now, it feels. Yeah. And I feel that too with my husband. So I'm not saying that with any judgment at all.
No, but this other thing has happened too, which is that it's not just that we spent a year and a half together. It's that we spent the worst, nastiest, grossest year and a half together, where it's like we were in our underwear 75% of the time. There wasn't that 3 to 6 to 9 to a year long period where you were still trying to impress one another. We went straight into like old domesticated, like it's fine, I'll just like wear my boxers for a week. Does this sound familiar to you at all, Natasha?
Yeah, honey.
So I'm saying not only do you need to thrive individually, but also find a way to thrive as a couple. Natasha was right. Get dressed up. Go out to, go paddle on the fucking paddle boats at Central Park. Do corny stuff, because all of that corny stuff that wouldn't have felt corny because you were in that insanity that early love is, that went away with you guys just like planning to move to New York together. So go back and try to make that relationship romantic again. Make relationship romantic again, as Casey's relatives would say.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
All right. Well, good luck, you guys. I feel like you have a lot of sex, so
I hope we helped
They
you.
are hot, aren't they? They do look
Yeah.
hot and young. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm jealous of you guys. So
Yeah.
Just take advantage of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good luck, you guys.
Makes you feel better.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
right.
Casey, that was helpful again. I knew you'd have some.
I
some
feel
wisdom.
bad. I was basically like, break up.
Well, that's Natasha's role usually. She's like, I don't think this is going to work. Go your separate ways.
But I don't understand how to help people anymore with that kind of thing.
But they
because-
looked so crushed when I said that.
Well,
That's a good sign.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a good sign. No, I was wrong.
And I do think getting off of the news is really positive, because also I feel like they're targeting us, and it's just like one horrible tragedy after the other.
Horrible.
Like our kid's in the woods right now, and she was like playing in like an outdoor swing, and I just keep thinking like all of the articles that I've heard, like just this past year, like tree snaps on hammock, family of 4 lost in the woods, a book, like I've just like 5 different headlines.
That's not the news you need to hear. That doesn't affect your, like, it's just too triggering to me. Like, to hear all these stories, I'm now like having trouble driving. I'm like, something's gonna happen while we're driving. And it's just like, oh, I don't know.
But then sometimes it's like I will read the article because I'm like, well, maybe there's a kernel of wisdom. Like how much weight can you put on a tree in the woods if you're going to put a hammock and 2 bodies in it? Like I'm like wanting to be an expert on everything, because maybe there was some, but it is very challenging because, I'm not letting her enjoy herself outside in the woods either. I'm like, maybe we should all just go inside and watch TV.
And may I ask, are you guys really out there because of like the variant? Or are you just on
we're
vacation?
We're on vacation, but it was
Vacation.
But it was good timing. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Moshe
Got it,
has
got it,
some
got it.
like land up in like 10 hours north of LA. So we'll kind of come up here at certain times with
That's
another
nice.
family.
That's
And
really
in
nice.
fact, if any of our podcast listeners can figure out where we are, it's kind of a nice, it's like a scavenger hunt, and you can come meet us if you can find a plot of land. Anybody is welcome.
I'm going to take Casey's advice with the news and keeping it superficial. I think that I'll
Keep it
check,
shallow.
keep it shallow. Let me know. Moshe, let me know if anything crazy's happening.
I literally I'll scan headlines with like a very, this Natasha, from we went to the same acting school at NYU, they talk about a soft focus. When you're like
interesting.
not
I like
looking
that.
at anything, I kind of like scan it lightly. And if I see anything that's triggering or dark, I don't read. I'm like, I can't read this.
That's how I read the news when there's a big fight and I haven't watched the fight yet. I'll kind of like read it with crossed eyes and try to
Yeah.
avoid getting spoiled. So you're doing that, but with all of the news of the
Yeah,
world.
and I'm not trying to be ignorant. It's really not that, but I do think there was so much before the election of like so entrenched and steeped in it that I'm a little like, there's just been so many catastrophes this year that I need to find a place of joy this year. And I'm just trying to like shuck off fear. I can't do it anymore.
And I also realized, because I read this magazine called The Week, and I had like some old ones shoved somewhere, and it was like from 2020, but it was like Trump on every single page, like 2 or 3 times. And like, we should be very grateful that he's not there anymore. But I think he did kind of like open up this, like, now there's like content to be filled. There's
Yes.
horrifying content openings. So I think,
And
that
I'm
there's
certainly
a lot
not
of
being like Joe Biden's in office, so I don't need to read the news anymore. But I am trying to take a little advantage of like, okay, someone else is at the wheel. Maybe I can like just a little bit. And again, I don't mean to make it seem like I'm not trying to play a role or certainly like, I don't know, be engaged.
No, I think what you're saying makes perfect sense. The last 4 years have been an unnatural degree of news inhalation.
And then
Yes.
it ended with the pandemic.
Yes.
And then an insurrection. I mean, it's just been unbelievable.
I know.
That's why we're in the woods.
Truly unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we're in the woods. It's not the Delta variant. It's the human variant. It's just like it helps to get out of career, news,
Yeah.
everything, and just get out. And that is what the redwood is.
My woods is like girlfriends in the backyard laughing, going to dinner. Like I'm just like, I must reconnect with people. But I'm an extrovert.
Love that.
That's great.
But I also don't own any land anywhere else. So we're always like, we have nowhere to go.
Oh, I didn't realize you weren't a landowner when I started the podcast.
I know
I'm
you
so sorry.
didn't. I know. No, I wrote the producer. I wrote the producer ahead of time to try to prep you, but I guess that message didn't get passed along.
That is
Hey, Casey,
crazy.
you can have this land. It's
The most
No,
beautiful, like being like on Endor. I mean, yeah.
But it sounds so nice though.
Casey, this was awesome. And it's, speaking of connecting with girlfriends in the backyard, there is something nice about seeing people that you like, even on a digital interface. So thank you so much.
And also,
Absolutely.
don't forget, Casey's book, The Wreckage of My Presence, has gotten rave reviews. Your podcast, Bitch Sesh,
And Black Mondays.
and you're on Black Monday. So I'm
Thank
sure you
you.
have even more things coming up.
The
but
short, Daddy-O. Don't forget to look into the short, Daddy-O.
Don't forget to remember that you can watch 15 minutes of my drinking. And actually, people are like, where is it? I'm like, I don't know how to access it. So they're like, can you try to post it? I'm like, I don't know how.
Everybody should pick up your book.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Moshe, I have your book in my bookshelf. I love it. I have it very much on display right there in my bookshelf. And my husband loved it too.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
You're welcome.
I'm working on another one right now, and it's like taking up every ounce of my brain. So
It's
Just
a
a
lot of
book.
work.
it is so much work. Did you like the process of writing a book?
I did. I underestimated how much work it would actually be at the second, like at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I did like it. But it took me so long, but I really did like it.
I
But
feel
it's
like
a
a lot of entertainers like the idea, and then they get into like the nitty gritty of like how isolating and solo, and there's not a lot of feedback until the end part. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people
Oh, yeah.
feel driven crazy by the process.
Well, speaking of last thing, that to maybe what I started doing is like Jessie Klein, a friend of mine, and a couple other girlfriends, who was also writing a book, we would get on Zoom together and write, and we wouldn't talk for like 4 hours, but there would just
That's
be
really
simply
Really?
other faces. And then we would do
That's really
set timers, and then we chat for a little, and then someone would be like, I'm taking a nap. This was like pandemic, like darkness, but like I'm taking a nap, and just simply keep their screen on, and then they'd exit frame. I mean, it was getting so strange,
I love
but
that.
it's so isolating, and it was like just helpful to see someone else's face and working, and like,
And you're like, someone's kind of there too.
Checking you. Yeah. No,
yeah,
totally.
and I'm like, oh, they're working. I should do something here.
That's really smart. I love that idea, and I've been doing something similar, but I don't have any friends writing books, so I have this girl that I found on OnlyFans, and she and I just kind of interface on the webcam, and I write. She does what she does. I look up once in a
And
while.
what does she do when you say she does what she does?
Listen, I don't want to really get into that. That's more of it's a HIPAA thing. Actually, that's honestly
Right.
a HIPAA. That's a sort of violating my HIPAA rights by even asking.
Right.
But
Okay.
but she does what she does.
That's right. Okay. She does
Okay.
what she does. Well, you right. Well, thank you guys for having me. This was so fun and so nice to see you guys.
Great to see you too.
Okay, we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Okay.
And I'm excited to read your book.
Yep. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.